There I lay in bed, too unsettled to fall asleep. I just stared at the ever-ticking clock as an hour passed. The man kept crying, producing unrelenting sobs with each passing second. Then 2 hours passed, and the police had still not appeared. By then, I considered checking out the window once more, but the mere thought of him standing there kept me from even parting the curtains. At around 4 in the morning, I had come to assume that I'd suffered through another sleepless night. But as the first rays of orange sunshine hit the blinds, the world around me fell dark, forcing me into a dreamless slumber. To my horror, the sobs wouldn't cease even then. Hours passed while I remained in an uncomfortable state, somewhere between full consciousness and true sleep. Once I finally awoke, I was met with little more than total darkness coming from outside. During the summer, I expected the sun to rise at around 6, and since the time had been around 4 the last time I checked, I knew I couldn't have been under for more than 30 minutes. Despite that logic, my body felt beyond broken. I was excruciatingly parched, and my bladder was on the brink of rupture. I rolled out of bed, weak and broken, still hearing the sounds of the crying man. Meanwhile, my wife still slept peacefully, seemingly unbothered by the ungodly noise. Then I picked up my phone and checked the time. It read 12:03 a.m., an impossible hour considering it had been 4 mere moments ago. I stumbled over to the window, still petrified, but determined to figure out exactly what the hell was going on. He just stood there, unmoved since the last time I laid eyes upon me. Down the road, I noticed an empty patrol car with the lights blinking, but the officers themselves were nowhere in sight. What the hell is going on? I mumbled to myself. As before, the sight of the man put me into a sort of trance, one that was only broken once I heard a tiny voice coming from behind me. Why is the man crying? My son asked. Hey, Alex, where's your brother? I asked back. He's in his room. He wet the bed, he said matter-of-factly. Stephen was only 5, but I'd assumed his bedwetting days were a thing of the past considering the last accident had been over a year earlier. Before checking on him, I decided to give the police another call. But before I could dial the number, I noticed the day. It was Saturday, which meant we'd been asleep for almost 24 hours, skipping over Friday entirely. Alex, go back to your room. Daddy has to make a call, then I'll come check on you, alright? In shock, I jotted the information down to a broken calendar and called the police once more. Alas, to my absolute horror, I didn't have a single bar of signal. Oh, God, we slept through the entire day. How? My wife called out in confusion and embarrassment. She just rolled over herself to check the time. I don't know, I responded meekly. It doesn't make any sense. And that guy is still crying? Where's the police? She asked. Their car is standing there, but they're just gone. As the minutes went by, it dawned on me that we had missed an entire day. That's why Stephen had wet the bed, and why my own bladder was on the verge of exploding, because we'd somehow been sedated. We'd been forced to sleep through the day, only to suffer the horrors of the night. But as parents, we had an incredible ability to reevaluate our priorities. Regardless of the situation, we deal with our kids first. We headed over to clean up Stephen's bed, and all the while we tried to come up with an exit strategy. We tried out every phone, hopelessly calling for help. When the phones failed, we tried the internet, which turned out to be just as futile. Try the television, Joanna finally suggested. Upon turning the ancient device on, we were met with little more than a static mess. It was a screen of snow mixed with just barely intelligible images. Based on what we could guess, the image showed the outline of a man standing in front of the camera, overlaid only by a single line of text that read, "Come outside." How is it doing that? Joanna asked in a panic. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure going outside is an effing stupid idea. I blurted out, momentarily forgetting there were kids around. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way. Joanna and I moved to the window, ordering the kids to stay away. On the other side of the street, one of our neighbors stumbled out, seemingly disoriented. He was wielding a bat. I'm going to duck you up, he yelled. I pulled the window open, ready to yell at him to get back inside. No sooner had our neighbor reached the crying man than the air fell to a deafening silence. A second passed, then the sobs were replaced by a maniacal laughter that increased in intensity with each passing moment. Though we all knew the laughter came from the man, it simultaneously sounded like someone was standing inside our own house. It was the loudest thing I'd ever heard, enough to knock us to the ground in absolute agony. Close the window, Joanna screamed. I quickly did as commanded to no avail. Despite our efforts, the laughter remained as incessant and loud as ever. Then as suddenly as it had begun, it just stopped. What was that? Alex cried as Joanna grabbed both him and Stephen in a tight hug. Shh, it's okay, she said as comforting as she could. Just stay away from the windows, alright? By the time I could stand up to assess the situation, our neighbor had long since vanished. All that was left in his absence was a trail of blood and guts that led up to the monster of a man, who promptly returned to sobbing relentlessly. He's gone. I let out in merely a whisper. The next hours were spent in absolute silence. All we could do was wait for sunrise and pray for a hopeful escape. We kept the television on, should any news appear. Our kids, while worried, were too young to fully grasp the gravity of the situation. In a way I envied them. They saw us as their ultimate guardians, able to protect them from any harm in the world. But based on what we just witnessed, I didn't believe it to be true. We moved to the kitchen to grab some food, counting down each minute until daylight. But as I noticed the first orange hue appear on the horizon, I once again felt my legs give up beneath me. In less than a second, darkness enveloped me, and I fell unconscious on the floor.